Hello, and welcome to Midweek Mindfulness. I'm Betty Cook. I'm a practitioner at the Center for Spiritual Living, Kansas City, and I am your practitioner for today. Thank you for joining me here on Facebook. I'm honored to have you with me on this beautiful fall Wednesday. In the interest of mindfulness, I wanted to take a moment to share some things I'm noticing right now. I'd like to invite you to notice them too. I'm wearing a jacket because it has been cooler the last 2 days. When I put it on, I noticed outside that the leaves are covering my lawn, and I'm deciding if I want to do anything about that. As I look out across the city as I'm driving, I'm noticing that the trees that turn first, those that are yellow, are starting to show. And finally, I'm noticing that sunset begins much sooner than I'm ready for. And that means I'm adjusting myself again to being further from the sun. And that's good. It reminds me to slow down and begin to turn inward. All of those things are pieces of what is happening for our Jewish friends, because this week marks the beginning of their most holy time of year, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I'll be talking a bit about that, and I'll invite you to take a beautiful piece of their spiritual practice into meditation with you. To help us begin, I'd like to open with an affirmative prayer. I know there is one restful presence in the universe, and I know that presence is spirit. I know as I feel the shortened rays of light that illuminate my world, that there is a necessary peace and time to pause in the blanket of darkness that is the quiet of autumn. It is easy to feel the warmth and light of our days as I enjoy the plants and animals around me. Spirit and the time we need for renewal and rest are in the darkness as well. I remind myself that flowering bulbs that delight in the spring are only possible because of their time in the dark and the cold of the winter night. Likewise, the seed of possibility that exists for us begins its journey in the moist, cool soil of the universal mind. The earth takes its rest, and I have the opportunity to breathe, renew, and enjoy the time that is my greatest rest. I am grateful for the time I am given today. I am grateful that the dark allows me to see the light so much better. And I accept the peace that is spirit as I say, and so it is. I will admit immediately that for a long time I had not educated myself much about Rosh Hashanah, except that I always remembered to make a note of it when I was teaching, so as to avoid testing during that time. I didn't take a deeper look until a couple of years ago, and I was so moved by the spiritual practice of this time. Some people refer to this time as the Jewish New Year, but it is really more than that. It is a time to reaffirm for themselves and with God the practice of the beliefs they hold. It is also the time of celebration of Jewish history and identity. Somewhat like Christmas for Christians or Ramadan for Muslims, this time is the big holiday. Rosh Hashanah begins the celebrations of the beginning of the spiritual Jewish year, the new year for them, their spiritual year. And it ends 10 days later with Yom Kippur. For the last month, Jewish people have been praying in the tradition that is called Elul. They have been praying to rise above their personal interests and individual comfort in order to remember their connection with others. Another word for that is egoism, the personal ego. Their unity with all people and with their Jewish community at home and worldwide. The fundamental principle that united the Jewish people is known as love your friend as yourself. It is the essential foundation for the existence of the Jews. The principal uniqueness of the Jews is the root of what makes them Jews, to reach unity above their egoism, and by so doing provide an example of this unity to the world, to be a light for the nations. And as you see with my meditation scape in front of you, I am celebrating that light with Kuan Yin, goddess of compassion. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of this change, a change in relations with all others, but particularly with those closest to us, our family and friends. The rituals of this time are intended to bring awareness to those things that are egoistic and potentially a barrier to spiritual change. I'd like to celebrate with our Jewish brothers and sisters by inviting us to take up the practice of introspection and initiating change that is Rosh Hashanah. Particularly, I'd like to highlight the spiritual practice of awareness of our role in maintaining a higher level of love, forgiveness, and compassion for those nearest to us. During Elul, prayer is done daily and fasting occurs from things that bring comfort, such as clothing that's very comfortable or food that is the most enjoyable. Meditation is done to raise awareness of those people, relationships, and ways of relating in relationships that may be comfortable and therefore something we take for granted. In this practice, it is important to remember that those closest to us can at times receive the least understanding and compassion from us. In the same way, if there is a relationship that is not as we would like, that is estranged or distant, Elul encourages meditation in order to take responsibility for that distance and forgiveness and reconciliation whenever possible. I find this spiritual practice to be the very meaning of mindfulness, and it inspired me to join them in their Rosh Hashanah practice for our time together. We raise our own consciousness when we can let go of those things that separate us from ourselves, and in that separation from others. But in this case, the God Self is that which Elul is reconnecting, the separation we feel from the living, loving God within. And I think it is also asking us to take a look at our expectations of those around us, and if those expectations are of God or of ourselves, of the ego within. So as we get ready for our meditation practice, I ask you to become comfortable wherever you are in your chair. And at this time, if you have your legs crossed or up or in some other position, you may want to ground them somehow. Put them on the floor, ground yourself. Take 1 or 2 cleansing breaths to clear your heart. And that would be a deep breath in through your nose for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to fill that belly as much as possible. And then let that out slowly for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I ask you to bring your attention to your shoulders and your neck and allow those muscles as much as you can to relax. So try to drop those shoulders if you can. So my plan is to play music for about 10 minutes and allow for 10 minutes of silent meditation. And when I bring the music back, you're invited to come back to wherever you are. Come back into your awareness. As you breathe into the space of now, I ask you to think about just one relationship that could benefit from this practice, from the practice of introspection of Elul. In keeping with the spirit and meaning of Rosh Hashanah, the closer the relationship is to you, the better. As you focus on this relationship, I ask that you ask yourself, how can I find more compassion within myself for the feelings of the person that I feel so distant from? Is there anything that I can do to bring more understanding to what separates us? And in this process, forgive yourself for your humanness and see if you can forgive the other person for what harm you feel was done to you. Find that compassion to see the humanness in them that may have led to what happened. And within your mind and your heart, hold that person in love and warmth and attempt to heal what anger or hurt you have with them. As we come back, thank you for joining me in this spiritual practice and becoming part of the light for other nations, that is the Jewish people. If you feel moved to give, you may do so through our website. The web address is given in the description. I would like to end our time together with affirmative prayer. I know there is one peaceful and compassionate love in the universe. It is a love without boundary or borders, time or limits. It is a presence with astounding grace and patience, available at every opportunity. I am one with this presence, and I know the loving white light of acceptance that surrounds and affirms this presence within me. I am at peace with myself, and I release any regret I have about my past mistakes or actions. I keep the lesson and release the anger involved with any past disappointments I have experienced. I forgive myself for all those things I could have done differently, and I allow myself the room to learn, to grow, and to accept myself as I am. I feel once again the loving embrace of spirit in all I feel for myself, and I extend this to any others with whom I have not made peace. I know that forgiveness is the gift of compassion, and I am rich in the love of spirit so much that I am overflowing with compassion and understanding. I am at peace with others. I am at peace with myself. I am grateful for the compassion and love I feel. I am grateful for the relationships that have taught me how to forgive. And I release anything that is not in alignment with my peace and loving good, as I release these words into the law and I say, and so it is. I've enjoyed my time with you today, and every time we come on with you and do our Midweek Mindfulness meditative service, I hope you have a great and wonderful day and evening, and that the wonderful colors of fall present themselves to you, and you have a minute to notice them and to breathe in the peace and surrender that is Rosh Hashanah and Elul. Have a great day. Take care.